High-protein snacks may have become the darling of the grocery aisle, but if you've ever bitten into a dry, vaguely sweet brick of disappointment masquerading as a brownie, you know, protein can betray you. For all its health-haloed glory, protein, especially when fortified into foods it wasn't originally invited to, brings with it a fundamental challenge. It often ruins the fun. Texture goes rubbery. Mouth feel turns gritty. And that aftertaste? A lingering chalky whisper of broken dreams. This is the great taste trade-off, the line every food innovator must walk in the protein arms race. Because while consumers demand performance nutrition, they also demand it taste like, well, food. If you can't deliver both, you're getting left behind on the shelf, no matter how clean your macros look on the label. Here's where things get interesting. Consumers today are more nutritionally fluent than ever. They'll tolerate a little weirdness if the function justifies it, but only to a point. The bar has moved. The early adopters of protein bars and powders were gym bros and endurance athletes who expected performance over pleasure. But today's protein shopper could be a yoga mom, a teenage gamer, or a perimenopausal woman juggling work, hormones, and a Fitbit. They want flavor. They want texture. They want that brownie to taste like a brownie, not like sadness wrapped in cellophane. And this is exactly where the category divides. On one end are legacy brands still cramming whey isolate into traditional formats, hoping nostalgia and marketing will cover up the mediocrity. On the other, a wave of startups who've decided taste isn't optional, it's the whole point. Take Munk Pack or Legendary Foods. These brands didn't just fortify a cookie with protein. They rebuilt it from scratch, often layering fats, like nut butters or MCT oil, low-glycemic sweeteners like allulose or monk fruit, and novel binders to mimic the soft chew and rich mouthfeel of indulgent snacks. Others, like Magic Spoon and Catalina Crunch, deconstruct cereal into protein-powered rings that actually hold up in milk and don't taste like ground-up chalk. Even in frozen desserts, brands like Nix and Halo Top have gotten creative with plant fibers and sugar alcohols to keep ice cream creamy, despite the massive drop in fat and sugar content. In every case, the formulation reads like a science project, and that's by design. They're engineering cravings with macros in mind. But the real magic? They're succeeding not by hiding the protein, but by mastering how to showcase it. You can't just reduce sugar and hope pea protein saves the day. You need to compensate with airiness, creaminess, crunch. That means clever use of ingredients like psyllium husk for body, collagen for pliability, or casein for that melt-in-your-mouth feel. These aren't just recipes, they're architectural feats. The best brands understand that food is emotional, not just nutritional. If you don't nail the flavor nostalgia, or at least something comfort-adjacent, consumers will go elsewhere, even if your bar has 25 grams of protein and no net carbs. Even beverages are in the crosshairs. Protein coffee sounds like a dream until you realize whey and hot liquid don't always get along. Clumping, curdling, weird separation in your travel mug? That's a fast nope from consumers. But companies like Slate, OWYN, and Super Coffee have innovated emulsification processes and protein blends that hold up to heat, cold, and shelf life, often using dairy-free isolates for broader appeal. The result is a category that tastes like a latte but acts like a post-workout shake. Still, not everyone's cracking the code. A surprising number of products, especially first-to-market innovations, fail not because people don't want more protein, but because they taste like punishment. You can't slap 20g protein on a label and ignore what happens when you eat it. If it feels dry, gummy, or aggressively artificial, consumers will ghost, no matter how beautifully branded your wrapper is. Ultimately, the winners in high-protein foods aren't the ones with the biggest macros. They're the ones who've made protein invisible. Where the mouthfeel says decadence, the sweetness doesn't scream stevia, and the texture doesn't remind you of drywall. These products don't apologize for being healthy. They trick your taste buds into thinking you've cheated when you've actually optimized. So yes, protein fortification will keep rising. But flavor is now the gatekeeper. The brands that get it right, who figured out how to make a cookie both smart and satisfying, aren't just surviving. They're creating a new food category altogether. Indulgence without compromise. And in a market full of label readers with sweet tooths and performance goals, that's a recipe for lasting loyalty.